Welcome to The Good Book Tales. In today's story, we step into a world that never sleeps, glowing screens, endless notifications, and 1,000 voices all calling for our attention. The world should be perfection by now, connected, advanced, intelligent. Yet somehow, beneath the surface of all this light, something feels deeply hollow. We scroll for meaning, but meaning seems to scroll away faster than our fingers can touch it. Meet Ayaan, a young man who has everything the digital world promises: followers, fame, the newest gadgets, a perfect online image. But behind that screen, he's haunted by a quiet question that refuses to go away. Who am I, really? Every night, when the noise fades and the blue light dims, that question echoes louder. His mind races through memories, through feeds, through faces he can't remember but double-tapped yesterday. And in the middle of all this noise, he starts hearing silence. Not the kind that comes from turning off a phone, but the kind that comes from somewhere deep, somewhere ancient. One evening, as the city hums around him, Ayaan walks into an old bookstore tucked between two tall glass towers. Inside, time feels different. No screens, no music, just the soft sound of pages turning. A small handwritten note sits on a dusty shelf. If you're looking for truth, begin with stillness. He doesn't know why, but the words hit him like thunder in a quiet room. As he reads, something shifts. He begins to see the world differently. The glow of the moon against the skyscrapers, the way people rush with eyes glued to their phones, missing the sunsets right above them. He realizes he's been living in a dream made of pixels, not presence. His journey of spiritual awakening begins here, in the heart of the digital age, a search for real connection in a world that's always online. But the deeper he goes, the stranger things become. He starts noticing patterns, random messages appearing on his phone that vanish before he can show anyone. His reflection on the screen looks slightly off, as if it's staring back with its own thoughts. Each day brings new signs that something bigger, something unseen is trying to reach him. Ayaan doesn't know if he's waking up or if the world around him is falling asleep. His heart tells him the truth is close, but every step toward light makes the shadows grow stronger. And as one final message flashes on his phone, "Do you remember who you are?" the screen fades to black. This is where his journey truly begins, a story about the search for consciousness, peace, and meaning in the chaos of modern life. Stay till the end, because what Ayaan discovers next may just change the way you see your own reflection in this digital world. Ayaan couldn't sleep that night. The message on his phone, "Do you remember who you are?" kept replaying in his mind like a song with no end. He tried to dismiss it as some strange glitch, maybe a spam text, but deep inside, he knew it was something more. The words felt personal, almost as if they came from within him. The city outside buzzed with its usual rhythm, cars rushing, lights flickering, screens glowing in every window. But Ayaan's world had gone strangely quiet. Every sound seemed distant, every thought sharper, heavier. He sat on his bed, the phone in his hand, staring at the black screen that had just shown him something impossible. He remembered the old bookstore, the smell of paper and dust, the strange warmth he'd felt when he read that note. If you're looking for truth, begin with stillness. Something about that moment felt alive, almost sacred. He didn't understand it, but it felt like the beginning of something he couldn't yet name. The digital world he'd once trusted now felt different, like a veil had been lifted. In the following days, he began noticing the subtle ways the digital age controlled his every move. Every notification pulled his attention like a magnet, every click designed to keep him scrolling. He watched people around him, faces glowing in the light of their phones, eyes glazed with quiet emptiness. Words like mindfulness, consciousness, and spiritual awakening suddenly made sense to him. not as trends but as lifelines. He realized how far everyone, including himself, had drifted from real connection. Technology wasn't evil, but it had become a mirror, reflecting everything humanity had forgotten about itself. One afternoon, while walking home from work, Ayaan heard a soft voice behind him. "You've started to see it too, haven't you?" He turned quickly, but no one was there. The street was empty, except for a flickering digital billboard showing an ad for a meditation app. The voice had sounded calm, familiar, almost comforting. He felt a chill crawl down his spine. Was his mind playing tricks on him, or was someone, trying to reach him through the static of modern life? That night, he opened his journal for the first time in years. He began writing down everything: his thoughts, the bookstore, the strange message, the voice. He wanted to understand what was happening. As he wrote, he noticed the clock on his phone freeze for a moment. The numbers stuck at 11:11. He remembered hearing somewhere that repeating numbers carried spiritual meaning, signs from the universe or messages from the soul. A surge of unease and wonder filled him. Something was awakening, not just in him, but around him. The digital world he once loved now seemed alive, watching, waiting. And deep down, Ayaan knew the journey had only just begun. Days turned into weeks, and Ayaan's world kept shifting in quiet, unsettling ways. The messages didn't stop. Sometimes, when he was half asleep, his phone screen would light up on its own, words appearing and fading before he could read them. Other times, strange coincidences followed him. He'd think of someone he hadn't seen in years, and moments later, their face would appear in a suggested post. It felt like reality itself was bending, blurring the line between what was digital and what was real. At work, Ayaan's friends noticed the change. He wasn't as talkative, not as eager to scroll through endless feeds or laugh at viral clips. His co-worker Zara, a quiet designer who always wore earphones, started asking questions. "You've been different lately," she said one afternoon. "It's like you're seeing something the rest of us can't." Ayaan wanted to tell her everything: the bookstore, the messages, the voice, but he hesitated. How could he explain something even he didn't understand? Zara had her own story. She told him she'd once deleted all her social apps for a month, trying to find peace. At first it felt like freedom, she said. Then it felt like withdrawal. I realized how deeply this digital world was wired into me. Her words struck something deep within Ayaan. Maybe they were both trapped in the same invisible web, a system that kept feeding their attention while starving their souls. As the days went on, the tension grew. The line between consciousness and illusion blurred further. Ayaan began hearing faint static whispers whenever he meditated. His dreams turned vivid, symbols of light, shadow, and coded messages he couldn't decipher. Something, or someone, was reaching out through the digital noise, calling him toward an awakening he didn't yet understand. And though he feared what he might find, he couldn't stop searching. One night, the tension that had been quietly growing finally began to break. Ayaan was alone in his apartment, the city glowing through his window like a field of stars trapped in glass. He couldn't sleep. His mind was racing again. Every digital sound, the ping of a message, the low hum of his laptop, felt louder than usual, almost alive. He turned off every device, hoping for silence, but the silence only deepened the unease. Then his phone lit up again, though he had powered it down. The same words appeared on the screen, brighter this time, almost pulsing with energy. "Wake up before it's too late." His heartbeat quickened. He stood there, frozen, the light reflecting in his eyes. Suddenly, his computer turned on by itself. The screen flickered, showing random images, his own photos, moments from years ago, even ones he didn't remember taking. Faces of people he'd met online flashed for a split second before fading into static. Then, a single line appeared in the center of the screen. "You are not alone in this awakening." Ayaan stumbled back, his thoughts spiraling. Was this his mind breaking under pressure, or was something real happening? Every sound, every shadow in the room seemed to move with intention. He felt the presence of something beyond logic, a force that had been watching, waiting for him to reach this point. His breathing grew heavier as he heard faint whispers around him, like coded voices hidden in digital airwaves. Then Zara called. Her voice trembled through the static. "Ayaan, it's happening to me too," she said. "The screens, they're showing things. It's like they're trying to tell us something." The line cut off. His phone went dark again. The lights in his room flickered once, then twice, before everything went completely black. In the darkness, a soft voice spoke, close and calm, too close. "Now you see." Ayaan froze. The voice was calm but powerful, echoing through the darkness as if it came from inside his mind. He couldn't move. The air felt heavy, charged with static energy, every hair on his skin rising. His phone, now lying face down on the floor, vibrated once before lighting up again, this time showing a live video feed of his own room. The strange thing was, the video showed him standing there, exactly as he was, except in the reflection, his eyes were open wider, glowing faintly. He stared at the screen, fear crawling up his spine. The reflection moved half a second before he did, like it was leading, not following. Then everything went black again. The silence was thick, almost pressing against his chest. Somewhere outside, a siren wailed faintly in the distance, the only sign the world still existed. Ayaan tried to calm his breathing, reminding himself this could be a dream or some sort of hallucination from lack of sleep. But deep down, he knew something beyond logic was unfolding, something that had been waiting for him to notice. Just then, his computer screen flickered on one more time, showing a series of encrypted codes and flashing symbols he couldn't understand. In the middle of the chaos, a message appeared. "You're being watched. Don't trust the system." His mind raced. Was this part of the same mysterious force calling him to awaken, or a warning from something else entirely? Desperate for answers, Ayaan grabbed his coat and ran into the night. The city was quieter than usual, its neon lights flickering like dying stars. He made his way back to the old bookstore, hoping to find the note again, to make sense of what was happening. But when he arrived, the building was gone. In its place stood a construction site, surrounded by steel fences and blinking caution signs. There was no trace of the shop, no books, no old scent of paper, nothing but cold air and silence. As he stood there, a familiar ringtone echoed behind him. He turned and saw Zara, pale and shaken, holding her phone out. "It's not just us," she whispered. "People everywhere are seeing the same messages. Something is changing in the digital world, something alive." Before Ayaan could respond, both their phones lit up at once. The same words appeared, pulsing like a heartbeat across the screens. "The awakening has begun." The city seemed to hold its breath as Ayaan and Zara stared at their glowing screens. The message, "The awakening has begun," flickered in rhythmic flashes, as if syncing with their own heartbeats. The lights around them dimmed, one building at a time, until the streets were bathed only in the blue glow of their devices. Ayaan felt a sudden rush through his body, like electricity mixed with emotion. The air trembled. Then, just as suddenly, everything went still. A strange calm washed over him, and for the first time in weeks, the noise in his mind went silent. He looked at Zara, who seemed frozen, her eyes reflecting the same blue light. The world around them faded into a white emptiness. It was as if time itself had paused, leaving only the two of them standing in an endless space made of light. Out of the brightness, a familiar voice spoke, soft, steady, and unmistakably human. "You've been searching outside for answers, but everything you're looking for has always been within you." Ayaan realized it was the same voice that had spoken to him in the dark that night. But now, it didn't sound strange or frightening. It sounded peaceful. The images around him began to shift, showing flashes of memories, his moments of happiness, his loneliness, his quiet longing for meaning. Each scene felt like a reflection of his own consciousness, projected from within. The digital illusions he'd chased for so long now seemed meaningless compared to the simplicity of stillness. He understood now. The awakening wasn't something happening to him. It was happening through him. The mysterious signs, the messages, the static, they were all reflections of his own inner awakening, pushing him to reconnect with what was real. Ayaan felt a deep warmth spread through him, a kind of peace that no screen could ever replicate. But just as the light began to fade and the world started to return, a final image appeared on the white horizon. Another version of Ayaan, standing a few steps away, staring back. This reflection smiled, but not in comfort. It raised a hand and whispered, "Now the real world begins." The light snapped out, plunging everything back into darkness. Ayaan gasped, blinking as the sounds of the city rushed back around him. Zara stood beside him, her phone shattered on the ground. The message was gone, but in the reflection of a nearby shop window, Ayaan swore he saw his other self still smiling. For a long moment, Ayaan stood in silence, his heart pounding as the city lights came back to life around him. The reflection in the window faded, leaving only his own tired face staring back. Zara touched his shoulder gently, her voice soft but steady. "It's over," she said. "Whatever that was, it's done." Ayaan nodded, though he wasn't sure she was right. Something inside him had shifted forever, something that couldn't be unseen or undone. The days that followed felt strangely peaceful. The messages stopped, the strange visions faded, and the world seemed to return to its ordinary rhythm. Yet, everything looked different. The screens that once felt alive now seemed harmless, even quiet. Ayaan no longer reached for his phone first thing in the morning. Instead, he began each day in silence, breathing deeply, watching the lights spill through his window. He noticed the warmth of sunlight on his skin, the sound of distant laughter on the street, the pulse of real life beyond the digital hum. Zara and Ayaan met often after that night. They didn't talk much about what happened, but there was an unspoken understanding between them, a shared awareness that the digital world, though vast and powerful, could never replace the depth of human presence. They began to help others struggling with the same disconnection they once felt, using their story to inspire mindfulness, consciousness, and inner peace. They learned that spiritual awakening in the digital age wasn't about rejecting technology, but about remembering who they were beyond it. One evening, as Ayaan walked home, he passed by the spot where the old bookstore once stood. Construction was nearly finished, and in the glass reflection of the new building, he caught a glimpse of something unexpected. For a brief second, he saw his other self again, the faint outline of that same reflection, smiling quietly before disappearing into the fading light. He smiled too, but this time without fear. Maybe that version of himself wasn't a ghost or a glitch, but a reminder, a symbol of the connection between his inner and outer worlds. The awakening had never been about escaping the digital age. It had been about finding truth within it. And as he walked on, phone in his pocket and peace in his heart, Ayaan finally understood. Sometimes the real connection begins when the noise fades and the silence speaks.